All right, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon by the time you watch this. What we're looking at over the next couple of days is a cold setup with some snow for today, tomorrow, and into Friday. But as you'll see on here, my concern really is as we head toward the weekend for some more snow rather than just some more cold. As you can see, for today, our afternoon high temperatures, here we are kind of in Amarillo, kind of this neck of the woods, anywhere between about 36 and 40. Got a feeling that's probably a little optimistic by some of our computer models. Others of them had us all the way back up into the 60s for today with this very cold air sliding down off to the south. It's thick, it's dense, and I really don't think it's going to go anywhere. Some of our models showed some of this warm air trying to plume its way back off to the north. I just don't really see that happening. My guess would be we'll be hovering in between about the 32 and the 36 degree mark basically all day here in town, and then cooler as you head back off to the north. And this is probably pretty true. If you're south of I-40 or so, in the 40 degree range is probably not out of the question. So the computer models have really struggled with how cold it is. I mean, look at all of these. This is about a dozen and a half to 2 dozen computer models that had us between 40 and 70 for today. And if you step out the door this morning, you'll notice that that is nowhere near where we're at for today. In fact, for today, again, I think we'll be lucky to get past the 40 degree mark. So given that, I really do think that going forward, chances are we're going to be a little cooler than they're anticipating. Because here we are, about 30 degrees or so for today. We might even, again, make it kind of up here. But, I mean, the main gist is I think you could probably knock anywhere between 2 and 3 degrees off of all of these afternoon highs, which are roughly right about here, and as we move into right about here or so, again, that's the 30 degree line. So notice that after today, really, we're going to be hard pressed to get above 30 over the next couple of days or so, and with that, we do have the opportunity for some precip, but I'll get there here in a second. But notice is, I think as we head into the overnight hours, between 10 and 20, this is the teens, folks, for lows and afternoon highs, even down into the single digits, I think, by the time we get to Friday and Saturday morning. So do keep that in mind. If you have any pets or plants or whatever that you want to protect, just bring them in if you can, because it is going to be downright cold. So, but what are we talking about in terms of precipitation? Well, Thursday afternoon, this is our suggested radar from the Texas Tech Wharf. A band of snow down off through about Dumas, Dalhart as you make your way out the door in Fritch, Borger, Perryton, Spearman, Stratford. But here in town, I think we'll be on kind of the southern edge of all of this, and most of this is going to press kind of east-northeast or so. And I think this line back here will be kind of what grazes us here in town as we move through kind of late afternoon and into the overnight hours into Friday morning. By the time you get to Friday, though, I think most of this is cleared out and it's pushed well off to our east. But notice the barbs. Now, these are all these little lines up here pointing down off to the south, which means we've got northeasterly winds, and we're going to hold on to those, and that's going to continue to usher in that cold air that we've been talking about for some time now. So how much snow are we talking about? Well, this is from the RPM, and here in town, we're kind of on the edge of about 1 to 3 inches or so. The blue is about 2 to 4. As you get into the darker blue just off to the east of Lubbock, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, maybe even getting in toward 8 inches. But for us, again, about 1 to 3, maybe 4 inches if we're lucky. A heavier snow band across the western Oklahoma Panhandle, just off to the west of us here in town. And again, I still think that the places where you can get inside of a band of one of these snow showers, where it kind of lines up, you might be able to pick up 4 to 5 inches if you get real lucky. But I think over the next couple of days, 1 to 3 inches isn't out of the question. I don't think it's going to ruin anybody's travel plans, unless you're traveling down off toward DFW. If you're headed to the Metroplex, they're going to be worried about a little bit of snow, but a lot of ice as well. So keep that in mind if you do have travel plans. So, like it says here, my concern is really for Saturday and into Sunday, as this next kind of open wave glides our direction. Notice the lines here. We got one here, one here. These are isobars. This is lines of similar pressure, and when you get these to spread apart, that's when you allow air at the surface to fill in between these guys. That's how you get rising air. That's how you get better chances for precip. Notice how they're a little thinner back here, and they kind of widen out here, and then they kind of thin back up as you head back to the north and east of us. I think this will give us a better chance for some precip across the high plains. And it's even a little thinner right here. Better chances for snow for us, and that's what it would come down as. It would come down as snow for Saturday and into Sunday. In fact, let's take a look at the snow total differences. Here we are 48 hours out from right now. And again, we're talking about 2 to 3, 4 inches. Again, if you get stuck in one of those bands here in town, about 1 to 3 or so. This is from the GFS, by the way. This is different than the last snowfall totals from the RPM. But notice it's basically saying about the same thing. But take a look at the difference between 48 hours, and this is about 5 days out or so. This is through the 9th at about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Here in town, still looking at 1 to 3, but notice back off to the north and west of us, anywhere between 4 to 6 and upwards of 6 to 7 to 8 inches in here in some of our northwestern counties. So better chances for snow as we move through Saturday and into Sunday here across the high plains. And our SRF plume view kind of paints this in pretty well as well. You've got 0, you've got 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 up here. And it does a pretty good job at kind of handling our first little bout with snow. The heavy blue or black line that you see in here is the mean. That's the average between all these guys. So anywhere between 1 to 2 inches here in town. I think that's probably pretty accurate. But as we head further out, of course, after you get about 48 to 60 hours out, you kind of lose a lot of the kind of model consistency. But still, I mean, here we are, 12Z on the 7th. So that's about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning on the 7th, so about 3 days from now. Notice how some of these snow totals start to tick up quite a bit as we head through your Saturday and into Sunday. So we'll have to watch this closely. I think here in town we don't necessarily have to worry about 8 inches of snow. Even 6 inches I think might be a little aggressive. But anywhere between maybe the 3 to 5 inch range is probably a pretty safe bet as we head through the weekend if things pan out the way they're supposed to. Now, of course, you can always check back with me on Facebook or Twitter about updates on these guys, or you can always check us out on KAMR NBC4.